Okay, so it's a great pleasure for me and Christian to be here today. We are going to present you a couple of features. Some of them we presented, I would say, at the beginning of it in June, because it was the early moment where we were, issuing demos of this Service Pack 2 of BI 4.3. So for today, you are going to see how we set up Google Drive in CMC, how we create a token in the end user interface in order to connect to it and use the Google Sheet or whatever content stored there as a data source. You will go back to some enhancement requests that has been sent to us. I'm going to the use of UNX geomapping and a couple of additions that some of them you might have seen before, but I want to take time to go back to it. And we are going also to show you a couple of dashboards which are presented by Need4Viz that we found very, very appealing. Okay, so that's it for the slide. So now I'm gonna go right away into do you see my screen correctly? If you don't tell me no, then I assume it's yes.
Yes, we do. We do.
Okay, so a big feature of this 4.3 SP2 is the possibility to use a data source stored inside a Google Drive in order to do some reporting. Okay, so in order to do that, of course, there's a bit of configuration required, and it is not something that I'm going to demo you very heavily as of today, but at least I wanted to show you where it was inside the CMC. So application, then authorization, server configuration, and then your IT. So it's not you, but it's really your IT who owns the Google account and who know all these parameters, which belongs to your company. So he will set that up for you. It's going to take maybe 5-10 minutes for him. And after that, that's it. Okay. So this is where you can find it in CMC. So where he will find it in CMC. Now, you are the end user and you need you need now to create a token which belongs to you this time in order to connect to this shared space. So if you want to do that, you will go inside BI Launchpad, inside your settings. And here you see authorization tokens. You find here the Google Drive localhost that the admin created in CMC a little bit before. And this is where you will be able to create your token. So in order to do that, you will have to enter, well, your credential. So for my part, it's my email, English, okay. And as I connected already a while ago, it did recognize me, and that's it. For a first connection, usually it asks you, a two-way password using the iPhone or your device. And here you see the token has been created. There is no expiry date. And here you can generate what I did or delete. So this is where you would manage the token. So I'm going to go back now to my VM. So I'm going to connect with my own account. Okay, and let's go. Okay, so what I'm going now is create, just show you that when we create a new document with this SP2, okay, then I've got a new data source selection panel. So if you recall what you had in a previous release, it was only about that section. But now we start to have a lot of possibilities because there is this Google Drive coming with SP2 and all this support is selectable. There is also the web service with the OData that Christian demoed last time. Okay, so this is why we are splitting now the UI in two panes. Okay, what I'm going now to show you is that also on existing content, we have enhance a little bit. So here I have selected the universe kind of source. And here you clearly see that right away, I've got the folder list. So I think it was the case. No, okay, this is a flat list like we had last time. I have a tooltip if I mouse over it, and also a way to search. Okay, but I also have this folder view, so I can explore myself or use the same, the search view. So for now, I'm going to select this one, and inside this one, I'm going to select. So here the purpose is to select a dimension that has been enriched at IDT level. So basically, you probably all know that in BO, in business objects, we have now the possibility to enrich a dimension to a geographic dimension, and you can do inside Webi a reconciliation using either the name or lat and long, latitude and longitude. Okay, so here you see that inside the universe, it has been done already. So I'm not going to go to IDT now because I would not have time. So I only select the city. I want article ID because I'm going to show you a couple of features in addition. So this is it here, article ID. I've got the color code, shop facts, shop ID, week. I need to have a couple of stuff. Okay, that's it. What I'm going to do later is to add a filter here, but for now, I just want to go and run. Okay, so now I'm inside Webi. I would say nothing new here on Earth, so you are already familiar with that. What I'm going to do now is to create a variable. So in order to do that, I'm going to display the available objects here and go to the new formula bar, and I will create a variable which is called rentability, very easy stuff, which is basically my margin here, but I can type and there's an auto completion divided by my quantity sold. Okay, this is very practical. I've got lots of space here in order to type, and there is auto completion, which show you available functions or measures or dimension. And go for it. Okay, I created it. Unfortunately, I forgot to mention that it is not a dimension, but it is a measure. So in the SP2, we have now this enrichment panel, which allow you to change the qualification of your data. So here, metadata, if you prefer. So here for the rentability with a capital measure, I want to identify it as a measure, okay? And I could change here and to say multiplied by 2, for example. So I can do lots of things here, and I'm not forced to open up the formula editor again. So it's everything in one place. And then I apply it, and that's it. And I can now use it and drag and drop in my report and use it right away. Okay. What I have done also is I have added inside my query geographic object, which is city, and you recognize it here. And you've seen that you have not seen me, using this dialog. It's done, I would say by default in the universe. So I'm going to use a geographic bubble, for example. Okay, geographic bubble tells me that there is no geographic dimension. So I'm going to create location. You recognize this and use my rentability, and that's it. So the person who has prepared the universe for me has already done the enrichment, saying that, this city dimension does have a latitude and longitude attached to it, and you can use it right away inside Webi. Okay. Next thing that I want to show you is that you see here, I've got a very long table. So it's lots of stuff which has been sold and created margin and sales revenue. But if I want to find my data, I would probably have put a prompt here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a query filter. I'm going to say that this one is a prompt, okay? And that's it, go for it. Okay. So this is now the new dialog for prompts. So you see that it's again divided in two pieces. Here you will have all your prompts, and here all the values attached to it. So if I have to find a specific value, that's again going to be very challenging. But I know, because I'm the owner of all these shops or of these items, I do have a report somewhere saying me that these one are the articles that I want and not the other. Simple copy here, and then I'm going to go back to my prompt, and then I will simply do a past. And here I've got a menu which tells me, hey, you know what? You can just add a manual entry on that. And you see that my two values has been selected automatically. So I don't even need it to go there, you know, it was just to show you. And then run. And here it's more, and then run, I said. Is that the right values? Article ID, up. Yes, run. Well, I don't see it reflecting in here, article ID. Yes, it is. Yeah, only the values that I have selected, these two, are now displayed inside the report. Okay. So this is it for now. I'm going to rename my report, and it will be UNX Geo, and that's it. Okay. And I also want to show you something cool, is that here, if I click on the report, I can also create a description for it. So this is a description that I enter for blah, 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 whatever. Okay, I'm going just to validate that. And now, if I just mouse over my report, you see here that when you mouse over a document which has several reports, then you will have the ability to see the report description right away. So if you have a huge report with huge document with lots of reports, that might be something that you want to use. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the Google Drive. So I'm going to just leave that as is. I'm going to add a query on that. So add query. The query panel has not changed anyway, So I want a Google Sheet because it's a new format, which is very close to the to Excel, to be fair. And here, if you have several drive, because if your IT have several drive for you, then you would be able to select which drive you want to connect. So I can explore this one, and I want the Google Sheet. Okay, and then you select the one you want, and you can also, if you are here, directly go to previously selected, and then you select the one you want. I will unpurposely select a very big one. So this one is a 5 meg sheet. So at that point, the sheet is taken, put inside server memory, opened by Webi, and then at some point, it will display a dialog. So this dialog, you clearly recognize it. It is what you got when you are creating a data provider on top of Excel. Okay, so here you can select range definition or whatever. If the first row contains the column names, you are already familiar with that. But when you click OK, now there's a new feature which is very nice in SP2. It is this unified query panel. Whatever source you would be selecting, you will end up in a query panel in order to select your items and create your reporting. So here, you can do some cherry picking, or you can go right away with extend selection and select. You can do data preview, it works, and when you are satisfied with your query filters, should you create some, then you would hit the run button. So here, I would say it's not at all different. So here you see the prompt, which corresponds to my first query. So I'm going to just run it as is, okay? And what I'm going to do is results, but without generating table or new report. I just want the query definition inside here, okay? So now I'm going to create manually my report. And for this report, I'm going to create a big table. I'm going to create two reports, one with a cross tab, one with a very big table, and I'm going to show you the freeze header possibilities. So look, this is my Google Drive query. And there is one thing that I see right away, which is that the object here that I plan to use is wrongly set as a measure. Don't forget, data coming from Excel. In Excel, it was a number. So here we see that as a number. But that's fine, because with this enrichment panel, I can decide that that is a dimension. So I apply it. I'm going to do the same for week, because I will need it, I know. And while I'm here, I know that month is also one of them. Okay, I'm good. I'm going to create now my cross tab. So I'm going to create a cross tab here. But there is something which is that I have changed the metadata definition. So basically here, I will be able to do my feeding, but my reporting here will be empty. I will have to do a refresh in order to Webi to go back to the database saying, okay, you gave me the year object, but it's wrongly, it's not a measure, it's a dimension. So give it back to me. Reason for that is when you've got some measure, you've got some aggregation, which are pre-calculated. Of course, if you change the type, you need to do a refresh to ensure that what will be displayed in the report is obviously correct. And we do not do that silently, because if we do that silently, it means that I would have to do a refresh after changing my year, then after changing my week object. So it means, lots of time waste for nothing. So I'm going here to drop year, and I want week. In columns, I'm going to use a category, okay, and lines. Okay. And here I'm going to put sales revenue, for example. This measure is not important. So you see that here, nothing happened, just because the data are not correct. So I refresh it. Oh, this prompt really annoys me. And now the magic happened. The table, the objects are well recognized, and the table is created. Okay, so this is rename my cross tab. Okay. So as I said, you see clearly that I'm going to remove that, and even if I clean my UI, I still have to use these bars to see all my values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my table, and I'm going to select the freeze header, or you can activate here as well, freeze header, okay? And when you activate that, then you see that the header of the table stays on on the top. But it works as well for the dimension which are here, and you see that it's frozen, okay? What I'm going to do now is to create a very big flat table. Okay, so I'm going to use available objects, and I'm not going, to select anything, just pick everything. So I'm sure that the table is big. Okay, so it's a big table, you see, it's a flat table. And when you've got flat tables, you've got another nice option, which is when you click here on the table and you select the freeze header, you also have the possibility, of course, to freeze header rows, because this is the purpose of the feature, but you can also decide to freeze a certain numbers of column here. Imagine that you are doing something with name and a phone, or something, HR stuff, for example. You want to say that the first 3 columns are frozen. You click on OK. And so you see that your freeze header is respected, but also these 3 columns that you have decided that were frozen are staying here. So if you've got big tables, it's very practical to explore your data. Okay, report description I've shown you. Okay, where I am. Okay, so now, oh yeah, time flies very quickly. So I'm going now to demo you the possibility to hide reports conditionally or completely. So in order to do that, I'm going to use an already created hide reports. So it's a very basic stuff, it's done. And I'm going to start in design mode. So, okay, that's a report that you already know because it's delivered with with our sample set, okay? And basically, where is my bar here? Anyway, so I've got 4 reports. One, which corresponds to the raw data, so what I use in order to tweak my data. I don't want that to be visible to my end user. So as a report designer, I decide to hide it. So just so you know, this is where you would do that in the report. In this report formatting, you've got here the hide always. So if you select that, then your report here is hidden. And then you've got the hide when formula is true. So for these 2 reports here, I have created a very tiny table on it, which is nearly the same. So on this one, it is the best of. So if my sales revenue is less than 20 million, then this one is hidden because I don't want to put to highlight, in fact, the best lines which are working. I want to know where my business is not working. So this is why I'm displaying this. And when the sales revenue will be more than 20 on this one, so sales revenue more than 20 million, then I want to highlight the good items which are working well because I'm going to use that for my communication or so on. So you see that here, you see everything because you are in design mode. And if you move to reading mode, then this is when we apply the hiding of reports. So you see this one is always visible, so you will always see it, okay? You see the sales revenue is 7 million, which is less than. So it shows you on which line you have to work to get your business better. Now, if your business, so I have an input control to simulate my, business working. So come on. Okay, so now my business is 25 million. In that case, it shows me where my business is good and what best practice I could leverage for these items. So that's in reading mode. In reading mode, you probably know that we have also the possibility to do an automatic refresh and now the presentation mode, which will basically show you all the reports of this document if they are visible. So this one will be always visible. You can decide to show it or not. This one is conditionally hidden, but this one is visible. The condition is met, so we can see it. This one, we cannot see it because the condition is not met. But you can select everything and say, okay, go for my presentation mode. So basically, my system will switch reports. So if you remember, there is 4 reports. This one, which is conditionally hidden. This one is the same. And there is a fourth one, which is my raw data. And as it is always hidden, you will not be able to select it in presentation mode. So if you go for it, so the presentation mode will switch report after 5 seconds because it's what I have decided, okay? And here, it will show me the best lines. You see, I can see, what will be displayed. So after 5 seconds, you switch. And then it will go back to the next visible report. So if you have, imagine that you put that at the entrance of your building, then all the information which are displayed will be always fresh. Because remember that I have selected that this report will be refreshed every 5 minutes or so. I don't recall. Every 1 minute, okay? So it means that every minute, the system which is in presentation mode will re-evaluate the hiding formula and decide which one is visible or not. Okay. So this is it for this hiding and presentation mode. And I'm going to use the 2 minutes that I have to quickly show you the kind of dashboards that we are now able to do, because we are doing a partnership with Need4Viz. So it's a partner that some of you might have seen during the IBIS this summer. And he has provided us a couple of reports. So I'm going to just show you what he's able to do. It's quite sexy, to be really honest. So I'm going to do it this way. So just so you know here, this report is using extension, custom elements. So custom element, why is this empty? Should not be empty. Oh, it's not, it was just taking time. Okay. Okay, so you see you have interaction and charts. So this one has been done by the French police and aims to show you, the reason for car crash accident. So you've got causes or whatever. So he has some thing. You see here the possibility to select and explore. Okay, some other. But so it's quite nice chart, and it adds to what Webi is providing, I would say, by default. So this is a freemium contract that we have with them. It means that we will have some demo samples. Probably not sure that we'll have it in SP2, to be fair, but what is sure is that we are going to issue a documentation right after SP2. So you will be able to connect to all this for free. But be aware that even if it is for free, you will be able to use it and see, what you can do with that, with a kind of interaction, or what you can add in addition to your reporting. But of course, it will be limited in terms of feature because it's a freemium, and you will have to negotiate with him and to buy a package in order to do it. Okay. The installation of that kind of chart, it's very easy. It's done through the CMC. So I could also show you where it is inside the CMC. I'm still connected, so it's good. But inside the CMC, in the Webi dialog, so Webi application, you've got this custom element section. And here, this is where your administrator would declare the Need4Viz stuff, Need4Viz or your own, you have some. Okay, you keep in mind that if you want that to work due to security reason, you would have to add the URL here in the safe list. I think this is all I wanted to cover. We have maybe in 1 minute, I don't know, Q&A if there is some. We heard that there would be Treillis charts in 4.3. So a good question from Roxanne about Treillis. We have started to work on that a while ago, and it's some work which has not been finished, so it is not delivered in SP2. And we would try to solve that and deliver it in SP3. So it's ongoing work. And for those who are really impatient, I think that Need4Viz has created some multi-graph which might suffice for people requesting Treillis. Okay.
So to that point, Sam, SP2 is due out the 20th of December. Is that correct? Do you have an exact date?
No. I would not. I can tell you that it is definitely before the end of year because we are finishing we have finished the build. So now it is gone for preparation, antivirus, that kind of stuff. But I have no clue how long it takes, and I know it takes a while. So it is in December sometime, and I would say mid-December is probably from now something to expect, I would say.
So it'll be a nice gift before Christmas.
Yeah, if you're nice, you will have it. You're
okay.
Santa.
So when you talk about SP3 and the trellis charts there, though, that's at least a year off in the sense that SP3 isn't due out until December of 2022, right?
Yeah, correct. It's a 1-year period release.
Right. Okay.
We know that having a release every year can be not enough for customers. We try to find a way to work around that, but as of today, I have nothing to communicate. Okay.
Okay.
We need to keep some good news for sometimes next year.
Okay.
That's a teaser.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. This was just like part one. This was incredibly informative, and cool. Thank you for showing everything live as well. That really helps for people to put it into context and perspective. And I think a lot of people are definitely looking forward to Service Pack 2. And Samuel and Christian will be coming back again for the West Coast Business Objects User Group meeting as you heard from Lucy at the beginning. And there is an opportunity to really, ask them all your questions about BI 4.3. So please, send us the questions ahead of time if you really want to get them, get them taken care of, because we're expecting a lot. And so thank you again, Samuel. Thank you, Christian, for taking care of the
You're really welcome.
of the Q&A, and I'll hand back to Lucy.